Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today, me and Mr. Zig is going to go over the Capitol Hill meeting between Tim Walz and Keith Ellison. Mr. Zig, how are you?
Doing good, Thomas. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Everything okay on your end? You doing all right? Living life to the fullest?
Doing great. I lost an hour, but
Yeah,
I'll try and make it up here.
yeah. This is
But that's okay. That's what we do.
It's-
We keep doing it. I don't get it, but
yeah. It's nice. Be nice to live out in Arizona where you ain't got to worry about that.
well, they're probably just laughing at all of us,
Yeah.
don't you think? They
Yeah.
say, "Look at the
Gotta be.
country. We don't touch our clocks, and we're
Right.
doing we're in Arizona.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, what time's our tea time?
Yes.
That's all they're thinking about."
Don't blame them.
Yeah.
Weather's nice out there all the
Sure is.
time.
Sure is.
So, but at any rate, we're going to be going over this, and Mr. Higgins is interviewing them, and Tim Walz and Keith Ellison, and just get an idea of what he's saying. So let's take a look at it. Okay, let's take a look at this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, ma'am, thank you for being here today. Governor, when you took office, this fraud had already begun. Is that an accurate assessment?
That's accurate, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Higgins.
So what we're trying to get our heads wrapped around here as a nation, and we're doing our best as a committee, I'm quite certain on both sides, to just sort of focus our attention on what needs to be focused on. You had massive fraud in the state of Minnesota. And when we started looking into waste, fraud, abuse, and theft across the country, Minnesota surfaced as a wow moment for the entire country. So naturally, we look as a citizenry to, well, who's in charge there? And my old friend, Governor Walz, is in charge. And the truth is fraud had begun before you took office. So it's a reasonable question, Governor. What you're noted in many interviews, I'm not going to go through them ad nauseum. You were aware of this level of fraud and investigations, and yet it seems like nothing was done until the Trump administration reestablished itself in a second term, and we began broad investigations into waste, fraud, abuse, and theft, and Minnesota popped. So would you please, I just give you a minute to respond.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do something sooner? I know some people were put in jail. I know there were investigations, but there was billions and billions and billions of dollars being stolen from a pretty concentrated demographic in your community. And this demographic is a significant political supporter for you and your party, good sir. So I just ask you, please explain.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr. Higgins, and I appreciate your question in good faith on this. First of all, the issue of billions, and I'll keep saying this, $1 is too many. That number got thrown around. There's nothing behind it, but I will acknowledge $1 is too much. I will also note the characterization.
I would say it's low. I would say it's low, but continue.
Well, there's nothing to support that, but look, we will pursue it and assume that that's the case. We will still make the changes we need to make. The characterization that nothing happened until the Trump administration came in is simply not true. We worked with them in the first administration where USDA didn't take action, and I think that's documented. The fact is, starting in 2019, I went to the legislature asking for—
But you didn't pause payments, Governor.
The pausing payments—
And the criminal investigation, which I'm running out of time, I want to jump to. The way America sees this, Governor Walz, respectfully, sir, is that this money just continued to flow. There was a high awareness of this waste, fraud, abuse, and theft, like organized crime level theft, and and it seemed to be slow rolled, and nobody stopped the money from rolling in. And the money's gone, been remitted overseas. Attorney General Ellison, you stated in your opening statement that you sort of stated that your office only has direct jurisdiction over Medicaid fraud. Did you say that in your opening statement? Okay, well, you seem to indicate that you don't have, like, criminal authority, but you do, don't you? Under your own law, you have authority if the county district attorney asks you to get involved, or if the governor asks you to get involved, then your office can take lead on any criminal investigation, specifically if you have particular staffing and capabilities within your office, because it's statewide, to look into organized crime. Is that not correct? Okay, so you have the authority to lead your state's effort to respond to this massive fraud at the state level from within the healthcare realm, where government money is being stolen at very, very high levels, unprecedented levels in your state. Are you leading that effort for the state of Minnesota? You're addressing it. Are you leading it?
Why don't you tell the bastard to roll his turn his mic on?
Turn his mic on.
He
Yes.
had that problem in the last, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the interview that they had with him on, I think the Senate had the, but he forgetting his damn mic. He's forgetting his mic, and he's doing it
Well, I'm
again.
surprised somebody doesn't yell out. Anyway,
Well, yeah,
say, turn on your mic.
Turn on your mic.
Turn on
Hell,
your
he's
mic.
having a conversation with him, and we have no idea what else
Yeah,
is even
I
saying.
thought I'd missed it when he said yes a couple times.
Yeah.
But then I realized, yeah, he doesn't have his mic on.
He doesn't have his mic, and just continuously
Yeah.
to do that.
Good idea.
Are you leading the effort?
We are leading the effort to prosecute
Hey, all
Medicaid fraud
right.
in Minnesota.
I'm not talking about Medicaid fraud. Don't hide behind that. You have the authority to prosecute anything criminally that the governor asks you to. And this thing is big. I'm giving you an opportunity, sir. Are you leading the criminal investigative effort into this massive fraud across the board in the healthcare spectrum in the state of Minnesota or not?
We are following the law. And
You are not leading. You're not leading. I'm going to say, Mr. Chairman, that the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota should resign.
And explain that. He's the AG of Minnesota. And yet, according to him, the only way that he can fight fraud is if it's happening to Medicaid and Medicare.
And that's all? Just those? I mean,
So if Tim Walz says, hey, you need to investigate the fraud that is going on here, and I can't do that. And of course, that's the way he is making it. I will do what the law allows. So he's hiding behind.
Yeah.
You're telling me that you are the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota, and you cannot investigate, put anybody accountable for the fraud that happened in your state. But now, if it was Medicaid or Medicare, yes, boom, I'm right on that, buddy. But the taxpayers of Minnesota, the federal funds that come in, but if they're not messing with Medicaid, Medicare, then that's not. My hands are tied. I can't do anything. That's the way he's coming off there, and that is just the asininest thing to be told that he. It's crazy to think that. So
Chair now recognizes Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Governor, good to see you again. You're an Army guy. I'm an Army guy. As governor, one of your primary responsibilities, keep your citizens safe, right? I think we could probably agree on that. We might not agree on much, but we could probably agree on that. And I heard you talk earlier about working with federal partners. Now, there's a lot been discussed here about fraud of various kinds, but I want to talk about something that seems to me, quite honestly, a dereliction of duty, or certainly a huge lapse in judgment. And you were governor in October of 2023, right? I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. And you signed the Minnesota Driver's Licenses for All Act. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct, right? So now, look, I'm not going to hold you to knowing every single thing in these laws. There's a lot of paragraphs and wording and so on and so forth. But under your law that you signed, it prohibits the disclosure of information contained in the license or identification card applications for enforcing Title VIII of the United States Code. Just to make sure, are you familiar with what Title VIII deals with?
I'm not specifically.
Okay, so it deals with immigration, nationality, and aliens. Particularly, the law that you signed eliminates the requirement for Social Security numbers or proof of lawful presence. And furthermore, it's a violation under Section 14.4 of your code for anybody to research that. As a matter of fact, immigration status is classified as private under Section 13.18. So literally, the federal government, your partner, as you said, we work with our federal partners, can't use that driver's license information regarding people that are here illegally. Now,
I don't understand the connection between the driver's license and the immigration piece, I guess.
well, they can't because, well, let me make the connection for you. According to the Secretary of Transportation, 1/3 of Minnesota's non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses were issued illegally. Do you have a video ready to play for me? Can you play it now? This is what happens, Mr. Governor. This is what happens when you issue driver's licenses to people illegally.
He is on the northbound lanes of 61 going the wrong way. You can see I'm going southbound on 61. He's in the northbound lanes on Highway 61.
I'm crossing over there. And thank God, I don't know how much that thing weighs, 60, 80,000 pounds, 60 miles an hour.
18-wheeler.
You can cut the video. He was licensed in your state under a law that you signed that precludes federal officials, your federal partners, as you call them, from determining whether they're here illegally. That guy that was driving that truck couldn't pass the test. He didn't pass the test out on the road. There's another video, I'm not going to play it, but there's another video of a guy here illegally turning a truck like that around in the middle of a highway where people lost their lives because they were decapitated when they went underneath it. That's what happened. So my question for you is, this should be easy. Yep. What are you going to do to rectify the law that you signed that allows people here illegally to get a CDL? That tape was in Missouri, not in your state. Look, if you don't want to protect the people in your state, I guess that's your business and the business of your voters. But that driver was driving in Missouri. And if he'd have hit a bunch of people, quite honestly, to me, you could have been held liable.
Yeah. Well, Congressman, first of all, Minnesota ranks in the top 3 safest states by highway data from your own department.
Highway data.
The data from the Department of Transportation for highway safety. We have the 3rd. We want everybody on our roads to be licensed.
So are you saying based on that you're okay?
I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with you or I speeding. I'm not okay with DUIs.
But you signed this law that allows for that. You signed it. And you're going to do nothing about it?
I can't speak to the specific on the CDL. What I can tell you is
I referenced your law. It says House of Representatives, State of Minnesota. And I know there's a lot of words here.
Case. I just know our roads are safer.
Exactly the sections that allow for this to happen and preclude federal enforcement regarding immigration and the illegality of people receiving CDLs under your state's
Driver
provisions.
safety and immigration are 2 separate things. Anybody, had that been a citizen or not, it's still tragic, it's wrong, we shouldn't do it. What I'm telling you is in Minnesota, we have the 3rd safest roads in the country.
So you're good. You're good with this practice.
I'm not good with that.
Well, what are you good with? Because that's what's happening under your law.
Well, I can't speak to the specific on if it's an outlier. We give license to people who
That
then
happens,
eventually, people
Governor,
get
I'm gonna
DUIs
yield.
after we issue them
That
a license.
happened last month. This is March. That happened a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I don't
Are you
know.
familiar?
That's wrong. And look,
But you're not going to do anything.
Sure, we're going to do
What are
things.
you going to
There's
do?
traffic laws
what,
against
what,
them.
What are we going to do?
Was this person arrested?
I sure hope so.
Well, that's good.
And but he was licensed in your state under your law that you signed about a year and a half ago.
Every day we give licenses and people speed. So we ticket them and try and stop that. What I'm telling you is I don't understand the connection between
He's here
licensing.
illegally. He can't read, and he got a license under
I
your
can't speak to
provisions,
the
and he's
specifics.
driving all across the country, imperiling everybody else. That's the connection.
I can't speak
Thank
because
you.
the data
Chair, I
shows
yield.
Minnesota is one of the safest driving states.
So there again, every damn one of them that is left sitting in there will, as far as representatives go, will tell you that no one is above the law. But right there, Tim just shows you I am. I could pass laws to contradict federal law. What does that make me, folks? What does that make him? He's above the law. Any blue state that says, how in the hell can he could not pass the test, the driving test, could not pass it, and somehow he gets a CDL. And I know why. I know. Okay, yeah, that's why. Because had the instructor, man, you can't drive. We're going to have to fail you. You're a fucking racist. That is racist. You cannot do that. Just because that man can't drive his truck, then by God, it is racist that you're failing him. That's exactly the road.
I mean, I know how hard it is to get a CDL.
Yes.
Yeah. We just can't go down to the DMV
Right.
and say, well, I can't read this. I don't understand this. But you might be able to get away with taking the driving test. Okay, well, you're good.
Yeah.
Here's your license.
I can't
You
drive
can't
this.
read. You
Yeah.
don't understand the rules. But here's your. Who the hell is allowing people? I mean, geez, Christ, it's like
They can allow that, Mr. Zick, because they're above the law. They know that they're not going to come after me.
why doesn't the governor just say, okay, maybe we made a mistake there. We need to go back and look at that
Yeah.
and correct it. It's nothing wrong with admitting your
But-
mistake. And he probably didn't read that whole sheet
Oh,
before
God, no,
he signed
didn't know.
that. He's got other
Right.
people.
Right, because I'm sure that the illegals here have more rights than what a regular American citizen. Now, if that had been Joe Dumbass going in there to take the test, American citizen, and couldn't pass the driving test, Joe, guess what, son? You're not getting your CDLs because you can't drive the big truck. But somehow, and then if it was a Somalian.
Which it was. I saw the video. They didn't show the video, but I have
Oh, okay,
videos they're
okay.
talking about. Oh, yeah,
So
the
not
guy-
only did he
literally-
get passed, but here's $100,000 to take with you.
Yeah. As you're
We don't want
as
you
you're
to
going out the
fraud
door.
us out of it. We'll just give it to you.
Well, it'd be like out here going to Bloomington
Right.
on the 4 lane.
Right,
Tom,
yeah, I'm on-
and
yep.
if that's the road they're talking about over in Missouri, I've been on this road,
Yes.
and the guy he's going northbound
On the
in the
south.
southbound lanes,
Yes.
and
And of
by
course,
the
yeah.
grace of God, he didn't hit someone head on,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
and then he did one of the crossovers. I didn't even slow down and look. He just whipped right over and got back after he realized. And somebody had called it in, and the troopers did chase him down, and they did get him on video on that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Don't like to judge a person, but
He's
he was definitely.
probably in jail in Missouri, thank God.
I Lord hope he's in jail somewhere.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not driving anymore, but I mean.
Yeah. Well, here's another one. This one's a pretty good one.
Chair now recognizes Mr. Fallon from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Governor Walz, do you believe the 70,000 strong Somali community as a whole has made a positive impact on your state?
I do.
So you'd be of the opinion, fair to say, that the Somali community has successfully assimilated and is making Minnesota better?
Yeah, I believe they're on that path, yes.
I'm just curious by what metric you'd come to that conclusion. I just looked at some hard data.
Yeah, that's.
And do you have any idea what percentage of the native-born Minnesotans, all races, live in poverty in your state right now?
I don't have specifically.
I'll share it with you. It's 8%. For the Somali community, it's 52%. How about receiving food stamps?
I don't know.
All right, I'll run it down with you. It's 7%, and then in the compared
So
to
basically
54%.
what Tim is saying, I don't give a damn how the American people are suffering under my leadership, but I do care about the Samoans.
Well, want to make sure they're taken care
They're
of.
taken care
And
of.
obviously,
Yes.
looking at this chart, if it's legit,
Yeah,
they're definitely being taken care of.
they're
Yeah.
being definitely be taken care of, and because they give a positive they have a positive role in the communities there.
Well, Tom,
And
if you take care of them, what do you get in the long run?
Yeah.
You get their vote.
you get their vote,
Yeah.
and that's exactly why both of them idiots will sit there and say that how positive the Somali people are to Minnesota, and that's the reason, because we done a couple of 3 weeks ago we had the one where Ellis was on at the Senate and saying, trying to fight. Oh, no, I didn't take that bribe. I didn't take that $10,000 or $20,000. Oh, no. Well, yeah, you did.
Somali community, and then don't have at least a high school diploma. For all Minnesotans, it's 5%. Somali community, it's 39%. One family member at least on Medicaid, it's 18% for Minnesota, 73% for the Somali community, and receiving welfare of some form, it's 21%, and it's 81% for the Somali community. Governor, do you happen to know what the percentage is of all those who have currently been charged in this staggering social services fraud scheme were native-born Minnesotans? What percentage?
I do not have that.
I think it was 85 out of 98, which comes out
Why
to
the fuck would I care about that?
13% Minnesotan and 87% Somali Minnesotan. So I think this is an instance perhaps of where woke gets slapped by data. Governor, there's been billions stolen over 7+ years right under your nose, and really there's only two explanations. It's either you were in on it or you weren't smart enough to see it. It's either criminal negligence or wild incompetence. And the only way this kind of fraud can reach this scale is if there's people in power that are colluding and collaborating and willfully blinding themselves to the realities around them. And in oversight, when we do investigations, it's rare for us to have whistleblowers because they face retribution and punishment and resentment, and they can be ostracized, and it's difficult and it's uncomfortable, and sometimes it's even dangerous. So when we have when we're having an investigation and we have even a couple of whistleblowers, it's very valuable to us because they provide invaluable insight. Do you have any idea how many whistleblowers are working from Minnesota or working with the Oversight Committee?
I do not. We have our own strong protections in the OLA, the independent.
Well, and it's 30. I mean, I haven't seen that in 5+ years in Congress, 30. Governor, on September 16th, 2025, did you announce your reelection bid?
Pardon me?
On September 16th, last year, did you
I don't know
announce
the exact date.
in September, roughly the fall last year, did you announce you're running for governor again?
Yeah. I believe that's correct.
Okay. And then I think you said in your quote here, we've made historic progress, but we're not done yet. And then just 3.5 months later, on January 5th, you dropped out. I got to ask you why. I mean, were you tired of making historic progress?
No, Congressman, I think I've done the job for 2 terms, and I said talking with my
just-
family, and I said I want to focus on doing the job, not
Didn't have
running.
anything to do with this epic, historic, awful fraud.
It has everything to do with trying to do the job
Okay.
right for Minnesota.
The facts are your leadership and really your lack of leadership has been responsible for one of the largest ripoffs of the American taxpayer in our history. And you traded, I believe, political expediency, the currency of political expediency, for your integrity. And, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you know this, but it's been widely reported that in 2008, when Barack Obama was choosing his vice presidential candidate, he had 3 criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody that wasn't as smart as him and had less talent and charisma and couldn't possibly outshine him. So he picked Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden in 2020 used the exact same criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody who wasn't as smart as him, had less talent and charisma, and wouldn't outshine him. And he picked Kamala Harris. And then in 2024, Governor, I think it's very evident why Kamala Harris picked you. The talent pool,
wouldn't
Mr.
know,
Chairman,
Congressman.
Mr. Chairman, the talent pool isn't just shallow, brother. We have hit the shore, and I yield back.
Even Waltz was laughing. I think he even knew where that was going.
Where that was going. Yeah.
Well, I can't argue with that point at all.
But that is amazing. And for both of those guys to set and see this.
If this is true, I mean,
But this is the second time that this has been used.
been used. Yeah,
Because Ted Cruz used it
That's right.
a couple of 3 weeks
I saw
ago.
that too. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
So for the Somali people to come to Minnesota and let's go right on welfare. Let's get our, don't look for a job. Don't need a job. Don't need a job. You can fraud these stupid sumbitches out of all this billions of dollars. Why would you need a job? So, but to come here and have that, and for those two morons to sit there and say that they are a good fit in our community. Somalians, the refugees, they are a good fit in our community. And you just,
well, you have to question, what have they done for the community? I mean, positive. What have they done? What have they actually done?
well, they got a lot of,
I mean, how many? I mean, I'm sure they could probably look and see how many are actually employed, and actually, make the community better. Tom, I mean, are they all sitting at home collecting a check? I mean, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But,
well, at least 52% below poverty line. So they, as far as going out and trying to find a job, I mean, but why would you, like I said, why would you want to go out and find a job if you could fraud? If I can open up a daycare center in this old ragged building and get millions of dollars sent to me each year, why a job? What the fuck would I need a job for?
yeah, all I gotta do is paint the building and put up a sign, even though it may not be the correct sign.
Yeah.
As we've experienced.
Yes,
But
yeah.
make it look like it is, and who's going to know the difference?
Who's going to know? Because they're not going to come out and be racist if they come out and try to audit me. That'd be racist.
Because I'm sure in Minnesota, Minneapolis area, basically, there's probably a Somalian community. Just like you go to Chicago, there's an Italian community.
Right.
All part of the city, around the city, there's different kind of communities.
Right.
So this is, and I believe that they probably tell those back home in Somalia, well, come on, if you can get to Minnesota,
You got it made.
we can take care of you.
Yeah.
You can live a better life here, which is probably true.
Right.
And obviously, but you're doing it at the expense of the American taxpayer.
Why fight the Somali government?
Sure.
Bring your ass over here, and we can fraud these stupid Americans right out of all their fucking money. We're not smart enough to do it over there, but by God, we can do it here.
And Tom, it was easy to do when the border was open
Yeah.
for 4 years,
Right.
wide open.
Right.
You could get here as fast as you can.
And not only that, but we got paid protection. The governor and the AG will not touch us.
Well, it's not.
It's like being organized crime. He had it right. It's like the 20s and 30s of
Yes.
organized
That's
crime.
right. And you'll get them.
That's exactly what it is. And even Walz said that. There was one of these where Walz made that statement back a few years ago that there is organized crime going on in the state of Minnesota, and he was right, because it was him and AG was definitely in on that.
Well, and then Tom, some of the ones who do come here, they could tell, well, if you want to drive a truck, we can get you a license.
We can get you a life. Yeah.
And you can make some extra money.
Right.
And
Right.
believe me, I'm sure they're probably working on pennies on the dollar to haul
Right.
freight. I mean,
Right. So here's another good one with Donaldson. Let's watch this one.
Was your office notified of these fraud allegations?
Not me specifically.
Who was notified, Governor Walz?
The agencies do their work, the commissioners, and then if someone in my office was notified, they let me know.
We have it under sworn testimony in the Oversight Committee that your former chief of staff was notified directly. So are you saying that your chief of staff didn't notify you? Governor Walz, you have to submit a budget to your legislature every single year like every governor has to do. If you're not aware of these increases, what was your office
Everyone
doing?
here
Are
with
you
that.
aware of any intimidation of whistleblowers in the state of Minnesota? Thank you, Chairman. Governor Walz, when did you first receive notice of potential fraud in Minnesota's social services programs?
Social service programs in general. We knew that there was issues with the CCAP program as early as 2012, and my first days in office, we started taking action.
But as governor, when were you first notified?
Before I took office.
All right, Governor Walz, former Department of Human Services Commissioner Tony Laurie testified that you were aware in early 2019 of fraud in 2 Department of Human Services administered programs. Is this statement accurate?
Not that I recall. I'm not sure what he's speaking about.
You don't remember this meeting or this notification?
No, not specifically. I don't.
In March of 2019, your Office of Legal Affairs reported $5 to $6 million in alleged child care assistance program fraud. In April 2019, it was also reported that the Department of Human Services lacked proper integrity controls to control fraud. Were you aware of these reports?
Not specific reports, but because of that, my office, we put forward actions to address them starting in 2019.
Is it correct that your administration was aware of the Feeding Our Future fraud as early as of May of 2020 based upon regular discussions about program irregularities?
I believe that's correct with the agency, the Department of Education, and then going back to USDA.
I'm gonna go back. Was your office notified of these fraud allegations?
Not me specifically, that they're handled internally in the administration. It happens every day.
Who was notified, Governor Walz?
The agencies do their work, the commissioners, and then if someone in my office was notified, they let me know. As governor, I make, 50 decisions a day. I said I did this job for 12 years. I make more decisions in a day.
Governor Walz.
So someone was maybe notified, but the agencies are the ones that take the action.
May I ask the next question? We have it under sworn testimony in the Oversight Committee that your former chief of staff was notified directly by these various commissioners about the fraud in Minnesota.
That could be correct.
So are you saying that your chief of staff didn't notify you?
I'm saying I don't recall whether he did at that time or not, but we took action. So I'm assuming when we put our budgets together based on that.
So explain that. I don't know if he did not get a hold of me, but we took action. Well, if you did not know anything about it, then how in the fuck did you take action?
What action did you take?
Why would
you
you?
didn't know? If you did,
Let's see if we can get that again.
yeah.
Now, just listen to this again.
Minnesota.
That could be correct.
So are you saying that your chief of staff didn't notify you?
I'm saying I don't recall whether he did at that time or not, but we took action. So I'm assuming when we put our budgets together based on that, we put a package together for that legislative session.
Let's talk about budgets, Governor Walz. Feeding Our Future went from $307,000 in 2018 to $199 million in 2021. Are you aware of this increase in budgetary costs from Feeding Our Future?
Not specifically, but I know it increased during the pandemic.
The Housing Stabilization Services went from $27 million in 2021 to $105 million in 2024. Are you aware of this increase, Governor Walz?
Not specifically, but I know it increased.
Autism centers went from $24 million in 2019 to $342 million in 2024. Are you aware of that?
Not specifically again, but yes, we know the budget's increased.
Integrated community supports went from $4.6 million in 2021 to $170 million in 2024. Are you aware of that?
Again, not specifically on the numbers, but it's the budget.
Governor Walz, you have to submit a budget to your legislature every single year like every governor has to do. If you're not aware of these increases, what was your office
Everyone
doing?
is balanced. My budget is about $72 billion. It includes 23 agencies.
Florida's budget's $115 billion, sir. But what were you doing if you're seeing program increases like this amid allegations of fraud in your state?
Action was being taken on these starting back in 2019. If it's CCAP.
Can you describe the action that was taken in 2019?
Sure. In the 2019, I'll go to the first things that we did on child care assistance. We lowered the standards on proof of administrative fraud disqualification.
Whoa, you lowered the standards?
We lowered the standards for proof of administrative fraud. The standards where we had to prove it were so high it was impossible to try and do it. So we lowered what it took to show that fraud was happening.
And what did you do with the results of lowering the standards to prove fraud? What did you do?
Put 79 people in prison and.
But Governor Walz, the fraud continued to increase. It increased under your tenure. Do you acknowledge that?
Did the numbers increase? Yes. And I tell you, when you catch people and prosecute them, it shows up at the fraud increase. I would tell you, Congressman, because you're not hearing about fraud doesn't mean it's not
I got 50 seconds, Governor, and I don't want to get into a fight with you, but let me move quickly to the Lieutenant Governor. Peggy Flanagan's your Lieutenant Governor, is that correct?
That is correct.
Does the Lieutenant Governor go on the ticket with you, or are they elected by themselves on a ballot in the state of Minnesota?
It's on a ticket.
It's on a ticket. Peggy Flanagan essentially works for you.
She has an independent office. She's a constitutional officer. She's on the ticket, but she is independent as a constitutional officer.
You could ask for her resignation at any time. Is that correct? That's typically how it works with lieutenant governors.
Yeah, but she's a constitutional officer. I don't believe that's happened in Minnesota.
Peggy Flanagan is, there are accusations that she was intimidating whistleblowers. There was a meeting on April 12th of 2024, where she went on stage and publicly denounced whistleblowers in the state of Minnesota, calling them losers in their mother's basements. Is this the type of treatment that your administration allows for whistleblowers in Minnesota?
I'm not familiar with that.
Are you aware of any intimidation of whistleblowers in the state of Minnesota? There are 30 whistleblowers who have given letters to this committee on the record saying that they have been subject to intimidation by your administration because they were trying to stop the fraud in Minnesota.
I encourage them to go to the OLA and the independent sources in Minnesota that are.
The OLA, you're the governor.
No, the OLA is the independent.
But sir, you're the governor. Why don't you take responsibility for what's going on in your state?
We do take responsibility. None of those people, I'm telling you, I have no knowledge.
But you lost billions of dollars of American taxpayer money in the process, Governor Walz.
We prosecuted these people, Congressman. I think Florida has fraud.
I would argue that the prosecutions have largely come from the federal offices
that's
as
not how
opposed
this
to the
works.
state offices.
You know that we refer.
What do you mean that's not how it works? That's exactly
partners.
how it works.
They're partners. They partner together. Our BCA.
Is the Attorney General allowed to investigate fraud and prosecute fraud in the state of Minnesota without the Department of Justice federally? Are you allowed to do that, Attorney General Ellison?
Yes, and we do prosecute Medicaid. Yes, and we do prosecute Medicaid fraud all the time. We've prosecuted over 300 people.
Apparently not enough, because Minnesota's rife with it. I yield back.
So, okay, so he does have the right then with what he just stated there. Mm-hmm. That if it's local fraud, then he can investigate, is what he said there. So, but to go back to what Walz said, that the standard was so high to investigate fraud that he come in and he lowered it so that now you can identify fraud a lot easier, and yet fraud still increased under him.
I'm just stunned by the budget. That,
Yeah.
you know, they were saying it went from 27 million one year. 3 years later, it was 319 million. I mean, if your taxes went up that much, Tom, wouldn't you like jump out of your damn chair and go, what in the hell is going on here?
Exactly.
So why didn't he question some of this and say, wait a minute?
I know.
How did our budget get out of, you know?
Why does this keep increasing? Now, of course, like he said, you understand, 2020 pandemic raised everything now. But everything just started increasing. And then knowing that there was fraud going on and did nothing about it. Did nothing about it. And you can only do that is if you are guaranteed and know they're not. I'm Teflon dog.
You're not going to get touched.
They're not going to do anything to me.
Yeah.
I'm not getting blamed for they'll have their talks. They'll point their finger at me. Guess what? I'm walking free. I get my pension from the state. All.
And don't you think that's interesting that he would declare to run for governor September? 3 months later, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody makes different decisions all the time. I understand that, but being the governor, that's a little bit. You've got to think long term.
Yeah.
You're running for that big of an office, you know.
Right.
Unless he's running from something.
You can understand if he announces that he's running for governor, and then 2 months later he is diagnosed with cancer and maybe 6 months to live. Okay, yeah.
I need to take care of a personal thing that's
I
more
got it.
than I want
Yeah.
to focus on,
Okay.
more than being a governor.
Yes.
And this is, and maybe it has. Maybe
Yeah.
he just doesn't bring it up.
Yes.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
very possible.
But-
I'll give him that. But he
But to
is,
sit there and say that I announced my running for governor, and then when I said, okay, I'm stepping out, the reason why I'm stepping out is because I sat down with my family, and this is a family decision, and we decided this. So, okay, so there's nothing, I sat down with my family, and they said, Dad, honey, boy, this massive fraud sure looks bad. You sure they're not going to be able to touch you with this? Fuck this, I'm getting out.
that is a possibility.
I would think that's more of along the lines
Because I'm
of the
sure he sat down with his
conversation.
family
Yeah,
in September.
yeah.
They probably said, well, run. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You,
yeah, they love ya.
you like being governor. You like being on TV every night. And,
Tim, you take don't let the failure of winning the president and vice presidency take you down. Just run for governor again. And then all this big fraud started coming out, and then they're like, yeah, Tim, you better back out now, hun, because this ain't looking good. And can they touch you? Will they get you? Is there anything that you did? And so, yeah, maybe you better. And that's the reason why he did. Because that way, when he can go on that damn communist news network and they, throw his 2 cents in on something. Well, Tim, what about the fraud in there? Hey, that's in the past.
Well, they're not on that communist news network. They're not asking him no hard questions. at all, man.
That'll never be brought up.
They'll be like, Governor, you look great.
Yeah.
You know what? How's your life after politics? And, I'll miss Tim and I'll miss Jazzy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be able to replace that kind of stupidity.
Right,
I'm sorry.
right,
The
right.
Democrats got to have someone better coming along.
Oh, God.
Because he was
Yeah.
that close to being the vice president
Of the United
You realize that?
Yeah.
Help run this country.
Right. So, Mr. Biggs, let's see what he has, and then we will. I thought this was the one. Yeah, okay. We'll just call this one quiz, because I thought this was one from this episode, but this is a different one.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but
So where do we go from here, Thomas?
I don't know
What happens next?
with this.
I mean, I hear,
stuff.
we know it's there. Is it being stopped?
Well-
being slowed down? Is it,
Right.
is anybody going to be held accountable?
Is the Somalians being racist against, are they being, because I'm sure that Tim and Ellison are worried about that. They got to be worried about, oh my God, they can't defraud us out in any more money. Oh, that's racist right there. You can't do that. So that's what's going through their minds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But and the typical Democrats, but to put it in a nutshell, I guess, Mr. Zig, is that to have any representative, Walz, Ellis, anybody, the lieutenant, anybody, the commissioners of these departments, any of them to go to jail, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. We're going to get the fraudsters. We're going to get them and get them as
We'll
much.
never know who they are.
Yeah.
They're nobodies.
Right.
They're,
Yeah. And then you've got to wonder, hopefully they'll keep track of, because, let's face it, there was some Americans involved in the fraud as well. And let's hope that Minnesota doesn't bang their drum. Look at all of the fraudsters that we got, but yet, well, wait, there's no Somalians involved. And that's where the biggest fraud came from.
Yeah.
So, but let's hope that they have it on a level playing field to where, you broke the law. I know it's hard for Democrats to say that, but you broke the law, then by God, here's the penalty, to the full extent of the law. But when you got guys like Ellison, who says, American citizen, you stole $50 million, 20 years in prison for you. Somalian, you stole $50 million, that'd be racist if I put you in jail. So we're going to give you an ankle bracelet for 2 years, and you can't, and you with that idiot, there you wait and see if you're not going to hear a lot of that. They better get it out of the state and into the federal courts to have equal prosecution, because those guys are really going to, because you can hear it now. Look, you son of a bitch, we gave you $10,000 contribution fund, and now you're going to prosecute me. What the fuck do you think you're doing? Okay. So if it's not under federal prosecution, then there are going to be a lot of sweetheart deals. Just like they said with the when we did the one a few weeks ago about this, where the one woman said, I'm a legit business. I'm a legit autism business. And those bastards come out and wanted to see my paperwork every freaking month. Every month I had an auditor out looking at my paperwork. How in the hell did that not happen with the Somalians? Daycare centers, autism centers. How did that not happen? How was there not somebody out there every month going over their paperwork? How?
Well, that might be harassment. You don't want to go harass the Somalians,
You're a privileged white woman. That's why we went after you. It'd be racist to go after them.
Yeah.
To hold them to the same standard that we hold American people to, that's racist. Think that's it?
$9 billion later.
$9 billion. And they're saying it's still going up. It's still tallying up. So it might be more than $9 billion by the time it's all said and done.
That's something.
Yeah.
That is something.
Yeah. This is crazy. So, but well, all righty, Mr. Zig. Anything else you can think of you want to throw in on this?
You want a road trip?
What? Doing what?
Come on. I got enough money. We'll get a small building and
go up and fraud those Minnesota.
Well, by God, we might as well just join in.
Yeah.
Come on. We're smart enough to do that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. Shit, they'd be on us like ugly on an
wouldn't they? They'd see us coming before we got across the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's not much to say here. I mean, are people going to be held accountable?
That's
real people.
Right.
Probably not.
Right. The people that caused all of this. Yeah. Well,
look the other way.
That look the other way.
You heard
the politicians are not going to be held responsible for allowing this to continue to go on. I mean, you would have loved to have been here and heard them, in the state of Minnesota, we caught fraud that could have cost our state and our country over $9 billion, but we caught it and we stopped it. But you don't hear that. That we allowed $9 billion to be defrauded from the American people, from the people of Minnesota. And guess what? There is not one damn thing you're going to be able to do to me.
Well, I'm sure with the primaries coming up, even in Minnesota, I'm sure that's the political advertisement for the Republicans.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's like, I will stop fraud. I will. And you fight fraud. Vote for me.
I can't wait to see that because, like I said, it's going to say a lot for the Minnesotans who are going to sit back and say, well, I'm not voting for a Republican. I don't care what happens. I'm not voting for a Republican.
Mhm.
So if the lieutenant who has threatened all of the whistleblowers runs for governor, by God, that's my pick right there.
Because I don't like ICE.
I don't
They
like
were in
ICE.
my state.
Yeah.
Damn it. And that's Donald Trump.
Looking
You
for
know.
fraud.
Yeah.
That poor Reverend. Well, bless her heart. Yeah, he should have just said, "Here, hon, you need a hug." Here, God damn.
Well, that caused all kinds of problems.
Well, the administration hooked it all together, and like, what the hell? You can't determine. ICE does not have anything to do with stopping fraud. You do realize, and that's what he said. You do realize that, But yeah, that was the damnedest thing. So, well, all righty, everybody. We will let you go. Hopefully, you subscribe, like, comment, share, do all of the good stuff, and help the channel out a great deal. So, but we will talk to everybody later. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.
They'll say I'm a convert to your altar for the heartless. Killer with a complex. Fuck that, I need compliments. Kill it with a complex. You can leave that, no condiments.